Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian. I'm one of the core contributors to the Cardano Hydra project. And today I want to give you a quick walkthrough in how this project is organized, governed, and how we deal with user contribution issues and basically how we run the project more from the meta aspect. I want to start here on the repository itself. You can see it's on the Github input-output-HK organization right now. And this is the Hydra, the main Hydra repository. So in the README, you already get some first introduction. And I think with any project, it's usually a good idea to kind of look for ways to contribute, any guidelines set. And in our case here, we would see in the bottom section already a link to our contributing guidelines. It's a bit unfortunate that we wouldn't have them here, similar like we have the code of conduct here already, security policy, very nice. However, the contributing guidelines you would find actually in the source tree directly as contributing MD. But this is basically our starting point and will be also the outline for today's walkthrough. Anyone who wants to consider or who wants to contribute to Hydra is asked to kind of see through this one. Of course, we're happy about any contribution, whether it is like some typos fixed, an idea submitted, a bug reported, very important, or any kind of discussion or question you have. If you can also record this using many of these features or locations, and this will help others to explore and validate also Hydra and whether it is something for their project or not. So we would ask users usually to either file a bug report or if they have an idea or they want to discuss something, to create an idea in the discussions category. So let's just stick with the bug report here briefly because it will show us to the usual GitHub issue creation dialog here, and we have 3 templates. One is really the good old bug report, where we would ask anyone to fill some details on how to reproduce, what's going on, what you would have expected, and so on. This will be assigned usually automatically the bug label, so we can find it back later easily. Feature ideas, though, are more specific requests of new features or things you would like to have. However, here in this template, we already have the full template requested or required, where in Hydra we came up with this 3 stages of this how to describe anything actually. And very often to us, and very important to us, is that we know why we're doing something. So start with why is really here describing the purpose of an issue. In this form here right now, why is required, but also the what the feature is about. Now this is mostly about scope and also saying, okay, this is about this new thing, or this should be behaving that way. So this kind of gives us a concrete outline, what is in and what is not part of it, whereas the how is more like the area for technical details and any further information or open questions and which have been discussed and so on. And you note that these here are also required in this template. So this is very concrete. Issues are already very concrete things. They're still labeled as ideas, and we would usually direct people further into a much more open forum, which would be like a discussion. So starting a new discussion, an idea discussion is really now very free form, just any idea, anything which is coming to user's mind can be put down here. And if you would want to have something new or want to discuss whether it's feasible, just give something. Why would you want to have something different, or what is your use case, what is your context? And this is very important to us that we have this context in order to further discuss this. So let's stick briefly with these discussions. We would find them in the Hydra discussion section. These are the ideas. And this is the staging areas, if you want to say so, of ideas, things which seemingly popular or not. So we can even vote on them. And we can see these are quite a lot. We have not been sieving through them in a while, but these are all very valuable insights or ideas which we eventually want to bring into our plans of work and eventually into Hydra themselves. One of them, for example, is this Hydra API package here. You can see discussions are very well suited for like discussing on threads, what is part of it and what is not part of it, and what would actually happen if you want to start work on something like this, if something is like maturing from a discussion into like the issue and then concrete feature stage, is that we would create an issue from this discussion. I think for this one, there is actually an issue, which has been started a bit later. I'm not sure if it was created using this integration here, but we would basically find that back here in our issues. And basically, all issues are located in this view. Let's just have me briefly filter this through ideas. So these are only the issues which are marked as feature ideas, which are like prototype features, things we're still working on, fleshing out, and then which will later mature further into like a feature stage. And here, for example, you have a bit more concrete draft. It's still not fully designed, as you see, it's quite short, but we would further take this, it's referring to this discussion, and ideally this would evolve into a full-fledged feature. These features, as I mentioned, we can filter them like this. So currently we have 11 open ones, 55 closed ones. Those are actually tackled on our roadmap. So even on the README, I would see a basic outline of features which are currently there, but clicking here on the roadmap, this view might be familiar to some, as this is our main piece of communication. So the Hydra head protocol roadmap is really about features, and this is also called marketable features. In our case, these are the basic items of communication which we try to use and communicate on with our users and stakeholders. So each of these has a purpose. Each of these has why you want to have incremental decommits, for example. And it drills down into not only why and what does it give you as a user, what concretely will you be able to do, the good old user story you might find in these sections here. We break it down into concrete API endpoints, features, and parts of the binaries involved, like so having this new command or this new option. We would kind of add some general properties which must be fulfilled, any security reconsiderations, what is out of scope, also very important sometimes. And then we can further drill down, and you see this one is a very involved one. We sometimes break it down even further into individual subtasks, and there's lots of discussion what's going on this one even. So this would probably be one of the very more involved ones. And we will use these as a means for communication. This roadmap typically filtered for only features, because ideas are more like still a staging area here. We use to communicate, okay, this is going to be the next release scope, roughly. So we use these columns for that, but we also use milestones in order to give expectations. Okay, what would be probably in the next version? Next version is 0.16 for us. This roadmap here is something you will find in our reports. So when I say as a means for communication, this is what we're really using when we give updates on the project. So let's go back briefly to our contributing guidelines. So even here referred is like these monthly updates. So not only we have here how to build the project, how to contribute to it, how to create pull requests, but also what we do on an ongoing basis. Let's skip the weekly here for now, but the monthly report is really things we give constantly updates on. It's referring to the roadmap as well. And at latest, at this monthly cadence, you will get updates on what's new, what's going on, what changed on the roadmap. So interested parties, stakeholders, users can really see how things evolve over time. And especially here you can see in January we had this, we just did the release 0.15, we started scoping out 0.16, and we see how things evolve over time. Ideally, you would see new ideas manifest as features, be brought in as new items here. For example, we had this 2-player chess game, for example, was a new item here, came from user idea, and so on. So this is how we use it as a communication tool. And I want to mention also that these updates on the roadmap are done on a regular basis. So not only are we using it like monthly to inform people, but also we are constantly looking through it. So every 2 weeks, the core contributors meet, and we have at least agenda items in this meeting to discuss new ideas, new things which have been contributed in the meantime, new idea items, new discussions, and also what to flesh out. So these are, for example, anything which is not on any board, that we don't miss anything. These are the idea items we had before, and these are the idea discussions we also saw already. So kind of taking things through this life cycle and continuously building out this roadmap of feature items is the main source of how the project goes into one or the other direction. And of course, these monthly items should also serve as a venue where you can raise your concerns or any feedback or any wishes, what feature or what direction you would rather see in the future. We're open to all requests. And so that's how we also hope to gather lots of input in these meetings. Now, this is a very high level view on what's going on, and more on a day-to-day basis, or like on what we do during the week, we use different tools for that. So every day we're not doing daily stand-ups, but something like called a tactical, which is a bit inspired by the holacracy methods, where the team meets, and this is also an interactive collaborative document, and just goes through several checklists or metrics, and also talks about what happened since yesterday, what someone needs help on. And we notably also go through another project board on GitHub, for example, where we track our day-to-day stuff. I want to also show briefly that what we also continuously check on is the open pull requests, issues opened by any users, and new discussions created by any users. So really to keep our tabs on what's going on. So open PRs is an easy link, easy query basically. Similarly, we can check for issues which are not created by any of the core contributors. So we would see these are user issues. And same with discussions. We constantly look out for and see if something new comes up, whether we can address it right away or whether we can bring it into our longer term plans. So what we look at every day is another project board. This is currently private, but it would only be private in terms of, okay, anyone who wants to engage more consistently and on an ongoing basis would be able to just be invited here. So it's not really secret what's going on here, and we should just make it public anyways. So here you see, for example, a board status. It's Monday right now. So last week we basically addressed all these items here. You would see we addressed one of the features. So we built the last piece of a Hydra Explorer. We have some stuff in review. So this serves as an ask for review. Also make sure that we get peer-reviewed our work. We have a blocked area where we have things which have been stalling or which we put aside for now until we have progressed somewhere else. We have an in-progress area. So we're currently working on 3 features, or in proxy, because, for example, the streaming plugins one is something created by Sunday Labs, and we just keep track on what's going on there, try to help, unblock, and enable them to do this contribution. Here we have a very important feature, the big one we just saw, which is allowing anyone to decommit things from Hydra head. And so we see that things are ongoing. Sometimes we link or break down features into sub-items. Sometimes we just create draft items which are associated. So this is really, I would say, completely up to the level of detail the team needs to do and whatever works for them, and to kind of align on a day-to-day basis, keep the bureaucracy low, move fast, and do what needs to be done to track what's going on, to have a reflection of what's going on, such that we can enable this. Also, we're all fully remote working, so to enable this way of working for us. In the to-do column, we have various things, I would say. When we start new features or upcoming release features, we would drop them here and break it down. All bugs or anything which is raised, any issue which is created, is automatically added to this board also into the to-do or in progress column, which we need to then relocate. So we don't miss anything new. So any new PR, any new issue, anything's dropped in here through some, I believe this should be this workflows. When anything, an issue or pull request is added to the project, it becomes here in progress, which you then need to deal with on our daily tacticals. On the left, you see there is another item, which is the red bin column. So this is a technique we use in the team, that anytime you stumble upon something which is odd or annoying, which you can't fix right now, you just put it in the red bin. And if you have a low energy time afternoon with not much time, for example, then picking one of these and making life better for everyone is a technique we're using in the team as well. So much for the day-to-day synchronization and how we basically deal with completing features in the end. Now, to close maybe this walkthrough a bit, is I want to say that also GitHub here, really, right, how we use it is only a tool. So we are currently using it, but maybe eventually the repository might be located somewhere else. We might move to GitLab or any other source code repository form. It's really just a tool, and I think we should always pick the one which is good enough for the requirements, which is as a means of communication, to be transparent, which is the second really big thing in my opinion. So really transparency is key, and improving on this is also, we should constantly improve on any of these aspects. And finally, just as I already said, do what works for your contributors, right? So every project is different in how much contribution we get from within which group. So making sure that the processes we also write down works for the people who currently want and are contributing is very important. Writing down processes in the end is basically just keeping a note, make things discoverable in how we do things, how to do things themselves, ideally codifying some things, making sure that there is automatic checks. It's even better than following a policy is that you get reminded that you need to follow it through some automated check or help. To maintain automatic code formatting is a very good example, right? It's always better to have it automated rather than commenting and manual work and pointing people to some nitpicks on how they format their code. So really trying to leave the campsite always cleaner as you saw it before is something we cherish and we try to do, and that basically makes it complete. That's how we work on Hydra, and how we also want to invite more and more people to work on Hydra in the future. Thanks.